When I was an undergraduate student studying chemistry, I came across a book called Journey Through Genius right here. And in the book, it tells the story of Isaac Newton, born on Christmas Day of 1642, ended up going to Cambridge University, and the rest is history, right? It's interesting because if you think about it, Isaac Newton went to Cambridge to study law because there was no Newton yet who had given us the physics laws that he would later give us. So Isaac Newton, of course, gave us principles in gravity and optics, and we could go on and on with his accomplishments in calculus. But Albert Einstein's work in the 1900s gives us another paradigm that we can discuss in a different video. But let's just stick to the fact that one of the smartest people to ever live went to Cambridge University and did a lot of amazing work in the 1600s, 1661 to about 1667 and then beyond. You know, he wrote his famous book in 1687, The Principia. Isaac Newton was outstanding. Now, if you are a student thinking about studying mathematics or physics, I want to mention a few things. The first is that I am willing to help a few students every year who are interested in studying for the IGCSE, especially with maths, chemistry, additional maths, and physics. Those are the areas that I focus on. And so I will be in Cambridge for part of August this year, God willing, and my goal is to help raise the next generation of scientists, mathematicians, and engineers. Here are 7 books that can help you in this journey to being a top mathematician or physicist. Number 1, Journey Through Genius. It tells the story of some of the greatest mathematicians that have ever lived, including Isaac Newton, Pierre de Fermat, Blaise Pascal, Carl Friedrich Gauss, Leonhard Euler. It touches a little bit on different mathematicians through time. The author touches on their stories through a lot of his books. So that's number 1, Journey Through Genius. Number 2, Euler, the Master of Us All, also by the same author. Euler, the Master of Us All. Leonhard Euler is regarded as one of the greatest mathematicians to ever walk the earth. Very prolific, wrote a lot of papers, published about 50 papers a year, even when he went blind as a mathematician. So that's number 2, Euler, the Master of Us All. Number 3 is Faraday, Maxwell, and the Electromagnetic Field. Faraday, Maxwell, and the Electromagnetic Field. One of the reasons why Cambridge University is outstanding is because of the Cavendish Laboratory. The Cavendish Laboratory is based out of Cambridge, the United Kingdom. And the Cavendish Laboratory is named after the man Cavendish, Henry Cavendish, who discovered hydrogen. And the work of James Clerk Maxwell was to establish the Cavendish Laboratory. James Clerk Maxwell was a mathematical physicist who changed the landscape of physics. His work gave rise to modern physics because without understanding light as electromagnetic radiation, without that work that Heinrich Hertz did work on, we wouldn't have what we have today in our understanding of quantum physics and quantum mechanics. So, James Clerk Maxwell was a boss. Michael Faraday was exceptional in experimentation, and James Clerk Maxwell was able to put some of the experimentation pieces of Michael Faraday into mathematical lingo, and therefore James Clerk Maxwell his work was outstanding, but he started the Cavendish Laboratory, and that laboratory has a legacy that seems to be living on from the work of James Clerk Maxwell. We have about 30 Nobel laureates winners. We have J.J. Thomson, Ernest Rutherford, all these people that came out of the Cavendish Laboratory. That is one lab that is worth studying to understand how it produces top scientists, right? So if you want to learn how to play basketball, it makes sense to study people that know how to play basketball. If you want to learn how to be a world-class physicist, it makes sense to study some of the world-class physicists. And that's why James Clerk Maxwell and Michael Faraday's work is crucial. The next book is also on physics and mathematics, and it's called 5 Equations That Changed the World. This has 5 equations. We have Isaac Newton's equation. We have Daniel Bernoulli's equation. We have Michael Faraday's work is here. And Michael Faraday, James Clerk Maxwell, I tend to put them together. But what I mean is James Clerk Maxwell did some of the maths, but Michael Faraday's work on electricity and magnetism is here. Albert Einstein's equation is here. And then entropy. Rudolf Clausius was a German physicist who gave us some of the work in entropy. Anyways, those 5 equations are there for you. The next book that I would encourage you to read if you want to become a world-class mathematician, at least to be able to teach it to others, is called Understanding Mathematics, From Counting to Calculus by Keith Crescent. This also has a solutions manual that goes with it, like a workbook and solutions manual, and I highly encourage families to use this to help their kids get the tools to master mathematics from counting to calculus. You get this book, your calculus skills are going to be intact because it makes sure that every topic that calculus needs is covered. The last two books, we have Tools for Mastering Mathematics. I wrote this with Nathan Jurset a few years ago. This is a free book online, PDF that people can download and read and see how we are trying to help people master mathematics. And the last but not the least is a book in a certain genre by John Maxwell, 3 Things Successful People Do. So this book starts out by talking about having a vision and direction and purpose. This is important because when you're applying to Cambridge University, one of the important things is they want academic excellence, yes, but they like to see that you love the subject you're trying to study. But you need to know why, and you need to have a vision which will fuel your passion to do the work to be exceptional, and then you tell Cambridge you want to study that further. So whether it's mathematics, chemistry, or physics, I would love to help students to grow in their love and passion for those fields. And part of that goes back to these books. If you read these books, you will be introduced to some of the top mathematical thinkers of all time. And you'll be able to see their theorems. You'll be able to see how they came across, like why they went in those directions. And then maybe you can come up with theorems and you can come up with ideas to change the world of mathematics or physics. You never know. Who thought that Albert Einstein in 1905 in his writings, June 30th, right, releases these writings, these 4 key things that, we talk about, Brownian motion and the relativity, theory of relativity and so on. I mean, this is one man in 1905 comes out with these papers and boom, physics is disrupted for a while. Still different from what people like Newton had mentioned. Newton, of course, is still the greatest physicist, I would argue, physicist, mathematician of all time. In terms of you have to factor like a handicap, right? He didn't have what Einstein had, right? And so even Neil deGrasse Tyson and some other people would argue that Newton is the smartest man ever. And so if this guy was one of the smartest people ever, went to Cambridge, and you want to go there as well, then you're going to have to do some extra homework, and I'm willing to help you do that. So reach out to amosthemathguy@gmail.com, amosthemathguy@gmail.com for resources on how to get into Cambridge and Oxford and other top universities, MIT or Harvard. We are here to help. Reach out if you have any questions. Thank you, and have a blessed day.